Hello and welcome to our program Where God Weeps, a program where we speak about the realities of the suffering and persecuted church. A country in the list of the top 10 countries with the biggest oil reserves in the world, and at the same time, a country where in the last 10 years the population living in extreme poverty conditions has increased by 30 million. This is the contrasting reality of Nigeria. To know more about the situation of the church and the country, we welcome to our program Bishop Hyacinth Egbebo from the diocese of Bomadi. Bishop, welcome to our program.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
Bishop, you've been in the diocese for how long? How many years have you been bishop of the region?
I was ordained a bishop on the 2nd of February 2008. And that means I've completed 10 years. And now, since February of this year till now, how many months? About 7 more months now. That's what it is. I'm going into my 11th year as a bishop.
It is important to have an idea of this geographical location because of that you have a very particular situation in this region. It's very well known worldwide, the wealth of the region with oil. And we would expect to see that this wealth is distributed in the population. But this is not the case, and on the contrary, it has generated some very particular challenges and difficulties.
Yes.
Can you describe us this situation, Bishop?
Yeah, the oil exploration and exploitation happened since 1956. That means it predates the creation of the Nigerian state. A place called Oloibiri was the first place they got the crude oil, and now it has emptied itself. The oil kind of has been emptied. But that is about 5 years ago. But if you go there, you see a shadow of the whole, it's like a ghost town. Nothing is there. There's so much money is taken away from the Niger Delta. The Niger Delta is where the crude oil is taken from. Not only the crude oil, we have an abundance of gas deposit there. Well, the information we have gathered says that we have more gas deposit than even the crude oil, which is unsolicited. They got to know there's so much gas deposit there. As I'm talking to you now, if you take a crow fly from where my house is situated, like 3 kilometers away, there is a huge gas deposit there, which according to the government plan is going to be piped to Lagos, far away from base. That's about 600 kilometers away from where I am, to run the turbines for people to produce electricity, and also to run a refinery by Dangote, the richest man in Africa. And a situation whereby this kind of wealth is taken away. In my place, we have no roads, no electricity, no drinking water, no government presence, really. Even when we want to buy the gas, cooking gas, we go to the city to buy at a very highly, and even fuel, the fuel stations. The government has put out fuel stations so that they don't raise the price unnecessarily. They have these mega stations. They are not located in our place. We had to travel to go get fuel, gas, and others at a very high expense. But more unfortunately, the gas has been fled. And in so many locations, the gas has been fled. So when rain falls, it brings down the acid. That is, the gas that has gone into the atmosphere comes down as acid rain. And unfortunately for my people, they drink from the stream because there is no drinking water anywhere. I don't drink from the stream because I know what it means to drink from it. And of course, it is very costly to get an alternative drinking water. So we buy a potable water. Well, I've lost my senior sister, my senior brother, and my mother to cancer. And there is not only my own family, so many people have died from cancer that we don't know how to relate the source of where they're getting this cancer from. And I'm afraid that many more people die from it. And I think it's coming from the drinking water. All our own aquatic life has been upset.
But this situation, I mean, it's not a matter of pointing out fingers, but this situation has been enabled because of what? Because of the companies exploiting the oil, or because government negligence? What is enabling these conditions?
A lot of factors. Now, I don't want to get into the blame game, but what I know is that the government is not interested in developing the place and the people. That is the basic problem, more basic than anything else. Because if the life of the people were improved due to the wealth they are getting from there, I don't think that the boys would have gone down to risk their lives to burst any pipe or two. I'm not justifying their action, but somehow that is obvious to me.
Of course,
somebody
there is a cost.
if somebody who is well provided for might not want to do that because it's hazardous. And then the other one is the government is not interested at all in making sure that the problems are addressed. And worst still, the international community is not interested because they negotiate with the government for good kind of mutual understanding on how they get to benefit from this oil wealth. So the companies are therefore not bringing the best practice to bear on their work. Spillages occur in Nigeria far more than anywhere on earth. And due to whoever's fault, nobody is compensated, and the ground, the aquatic life of the place is really destroyed, ruined. I mean, we as bishops from the Niger Delta, Catholic bishops, we wrote to the government to provide water for the people to drink, go clean up the sites, and try to provide for the people, but it fell on deaf ears. We've been advocating on this, but the government decides not to do so. International community is complicit on this because what they want is the oil at whatever best price. So
the cheaper, the better.
Yeah, we are caught in between, and nobody will listen to our cry as a result of this.
Now, I wanted to ask you that, Bishop. We really appreciate your how open and honest you are about talking about this difficult situation. But what is the impact of somebody like you with some moral authority talking about it? Is there any impact with what you say?
Well, I spoke about it, and of course I've got warned. I've gotten some text messages to say that, well, what I'm saying is not favorable to the government. And of course, I have reduced all this to corruption. And, not too long ago, we had a president from my own area. And I spoke with him and even went with the nuncio to plead with him that he should do something about this situation. Well, he said his president for Nigeria is not a tribal leader. He will be seen to be a tribal leader if he addressed the situation. But then they've removed him, and we have another person there, and he's not willing to address this situation at all. So if I speak, it is seen to be challenging the authority. It is seen to be stopping people from benefiting from this oil wealth. Not too long ago, I spoke to a bishop here, and he told me, well, look, when you talk about you being poor, nobody believes you because there is so much wealth coming from your country, and that some of our people who live in Europe here are so rich. So, meaning that this wealth is taken to Europe or to America, and they're comfortable with it, really. And they come here for their own treatments, medical treatments, and their children come here for school. So whether we have a good school system or not does not mean anything to our leaders. And I've said that to them, and they take it to mean that I'm insulting them. But you see, Nigeria is about 200 million people. And they're suffering as a result of this reckless behavior of our leaders. If you look at how people are drowning in the Mediterranean, a leader should have had the heart to feel for these people, but they don't. Even when they are dying, they go, I'm a good swimmer. I mean, I'm coming from a swimming background, but I'm scared of the sea. When I see the sea, the vastness of it, I wouldn't risk it. But people are so frustrated to the point that they can take any risk, and they're dying in the ocean, eaten by fish. I mean, can somebody live with this conscience and be addressed as honorable ministers and senators and presidents? They are the excellencies. And you say this to them, they take it that you are insulting them. It is a pity, you know. Nigeria has been so blessed by God, so vastly blessed. Even the land is so blessed, it's rich. And yet, this money is not going to cultivate the land. I've just come back from Iowa, Cedar Rapids in the US. You know, look at the farms there.
Productive.
They could bring those people to help us, but no. And nobody will hold these people to account for it. And what do? They buy guns for the young ones to fight, to put them into power, killing each other. And our senators are the most paid workers in the world, in a country where they cannot pay somebody the least amount of money. A country, I mean, I hear that Nigeria is now the poorest country on earth. In terms of per capita, we are the poorest.
People living under extreme poverty conditions.
In the world now. I mean, if you are living in a situation like that, and instead they buy weapons and give it to people to kill each other, I mean, that's devilish. These people go to churches. I mean, we have a lot of other churches apart from Catholic Church. I don't know what they hear. I don't. So,
Bishop, another threat for the population in your country is the activity of extremist Islamic groups like Boko Haram. But there are some others, and they're not the only ones. On top of everything that you've told us, do you also have this problem and this threat in your region?
We don't have a direct attack from Boko Haram. But you know, because we are one country, our people have been working and trading in the north where this is happening. And so what they do is to relocate, to come back home. So we have kind of refugee situation, people coming back, not knowing what to do anymore because there are no jobs in my place. So they come back, and some decided not to come back, even though they have been killed. You know, not too long ago, apart from the Boko Haram problem, there is this insurgency that has come upon us from the headsmen. They are killing people from one community to another, even though the government has been told who is killing. The government has refused to do anything about it. Not too long ago, we had to carry placards. I mean, Catholic bishops carrying placards. People spoke to me over from my friends, across the world, were speaking to me about me carrying this placard that human life is sacred. Telling the government that, you know, they went into a Catholic church, shot the 2 priests there and the 17 worshippers for morning mass, as well as now going from village community to another community to another and killing them. And the soldiers are not stopping them. And even the police is not there for them. You know, pathetic. One of the priests.
But why is this indifference to this problem?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it is an agenda by the present authorities to kind of do ethnic cleansing of sorts, because they are coming from the Fulani headsmen, and they could be seen to be carrying this AK-47.
This is expensive weaponry.
Weapons, and you don't know how they get this, and they have ammunitions.
So there must be some financing coming from
There's financing
somewhere.
from somewhere, and nobody stops them. You cannot, as an ordinary man, carry weapons like that and go around without being put in prison. But these people have the impunity to have it around. The other day, not too long ago, in a seminary in Makurdi, these headsmen came to graze inside the seminary. And they said, but this is not a place to graze. They are cattle, huge numbers. And so they drove them out. 2 o'clock in the night, they came shooting. A lot of priests were shot. They were treated, and seminarians, they all fled. They had to close down the seminary. And that is how, if you resist them eating your crops, well, you're in trouble. And yet, this is condoned, probably because it's coming from the president's people. So, I mean, it's worrisome, and everybody, we don't know what to do with this.
I was going to ask you something in this line, Bishop. With this really, really terrible scenario, as your role as a spiritual leader, how do you bring hope? How do you attend to the spiritual needs, to the pastoral work of your people in the middle of all these tremendous circumstances?
Yeah. Since I became bishop 10 years ago, my task has been to tell them that God is God, and that in spite of the powers that be, God will triumph in the end. That I always tell them. And that seems to ring true. And I believe it, that no human being can hold us down that much. That is why I'm really boiling to have schools in place so that we can have good education for the children. That's what I tell them, that you are the future. The children is our future. Probably in their own time, this might not happen to them. but let us equip them so that they can become medical doctors, they can become engineers, lawyers, and all. And so unless we have good education, they cannot, we have no future, as it were. Well, God is always going to guarantee a future, but our faith is in Him. But then we want the schools. You know, when we had the schools, we always have the best schools because of the attention we give to the quality.
We, meaning the church.
The church, yes. And people send their children, irrespective of religious background, to our schools because of the quality. And even now, the Catholic schools are the best in the whole country. They are. After taking our schools and rubbishing them, we try to, some of the dioceses who have money, they put out their own private schools. And that is where politicians are sending their children to. Those who didn't have enough money to send them to Europe and
abroad.
So they are going there. I mean, fortunately, thanks to God, Nigerian girls, junior girls, went to Los Angeles, I think, and became the world best. You know, so Nigerians have gifts, and yet our leaders don't care. So what I'm trying to do is to bring hope that there is a tomorrow. God will have the last say, whatever anybody does. And I have strong belief in that, you know. I'm not looking at my time, I'm looking beyond my own time, because I can't see the roads coming now. Because we need roads to, we have huge settlements of people. Like you're talking about 50,000 people in a place, no road, and no facilities, nothing. And just a simple road to connect these communities. No, somebody says, just give me a fraction of what you are getting from the back of my house. Say no. It's difficult to live with it.
It is.
So we're trying to make sense out of this. And of course, you know, we celebrate life. We bring our life, we still sing and dance in spite of all this. But sometimes it's so difficult to understand when people are dying from treatable diseases like even malaria. Just that we don't have the doctors, we don't have
the medication.
The wherewithal to really help them. So burials are many. And of course, our faith is also helping us.
Bishop, what can we do? And by we, I mean the church, you know, the audience, our viewers, people that get to know this reality. What can we do?
Firstly, you've done a lot by sponsoring projects for us. And I want to take this opportunity to say thank you for bringing hope to our people, because when I went there and I started doing things like build halls for the children and for the church community and other things that I've done, from what you have given, some of the sisters now have a convent. We never had a convent there before. Now they have convents built, and they are now relating to us in a very, and people relate to the church like we are government. So you have helped us a lot. So I want to thank you. You brought a lot of hope to our people by means of the gifts you have given to us. One thing that I want you to do more is advocacy. Just tell the world about this oppression, that this is not human, this is not right. And if I say it in Nigeria, it is very offensive. And even if when they hear that this is said, when people were being killed in Benue and the governor said it, it was like, why did you say it? Well, human beings are killed. You know, tell the world that human life is human. I might be black, but it's still the same veins running through me and my people. We deserve far more than this. Tell the West that We are human beings. Why are they not bringing justice to bear on the way they are exploiting oil from my place? Tell them that. Tell them not to pick leaders for us. I mean, the US is making a big thing about Russia interfering with their elections. They pick leaders for us. They tell you who to have, and that is it. So how are we going to stand on our feet when they are giving us leaders who are not interested in us, but interested in bringing the money down here? Tell them that the money they are bringing to invest here is not helpful to Africa, not helpful to Nigeria. And that is the reason why Nigerians are out there rampaging, doing the wrong things. And somebody told me, because I'm Nigerian, whatever you say, nobody will believe you. Yes, they will not believe us, but we're dying. We are dying. They're killing us. And this is not fair. I see a lot of billions going from the back of my house, and I have no access to even a little fraction of it. My place is so undeveloped. In this day and age, no electricity, no roads, no drinking water, no good clinics. Everybody is now a doctor. They prescribe drugs for each other. And even the drugs can just kill you.
Well, Bishop, we will do definitely our part and will feel responsible for our brothers and sisters in Nigeria. And thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. Very grateful. God bless you.
And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us in another program of Where God Weeps. If you want to know more about the work that the church is doing in Nigeria, we encourage you to contact the information at the end of this program. Thank you, and God bless.